Okay, then. So, like I was trying to say before I had a little break, we talk about cost of introduction to cost of capital. That cost of capital represents the compensation required by the providers of capital from their investment in a company, and that is usually determined by the market forces of demand and supply, depending on the perceived risk associated with the company. All right. Then thereafter, we'll move to discussing the importance of cost of capital. I mentioned that there are basically two key importance of cost of capital. One is to determine financial viability of a project. That is, you use cost of capital to evaluate a project in ascertaining whether the project is financially viable or not. All right. Then two, we use cost of capital for determining debt equity proportion. All right. So when you want to, cost of capital will enable a company to determine the percentage of equity and debt to be carried in a company's capital structure in order to minimize the overall cost of capital. Then thereafter, we'll move to discussing the categories of cost of capital. I told you that there are basically three, that cost of capital can be grouped into three. One is the traditional weighted average cost of capital. Two, project-specific cost of capital. Then three, cost of capital of the combined activity, which I usually call a WACOCA. Please mute yourself. Mute yourself. Everyone mute yourself. If you want to talk, please just raise your hand. I will allow you. But right now, mute yourself. I don't want any distraction, please. Mute, mute. Thank you. Now, we now begin to discuss each component of the traditional work. I mentioned to you that when you want to compute traditional work, there are four procedures you are expected to carry out. One is to calculate cost of equity. Two, you calculate cost of preference share if you are given. Then three, you calculate cost of debt. Then four, you calculate traditional work. You calculate weighted average cost of capital. And I told you that traditional work will be computed when information on capital structure, that is, when you are given ordinary share capital, preference share capital, and debt capital, including their costs, such as dividend and then interest. When you are given such information in a question and you are asked to calculate cost of capital, you need nobody to tell you that you are expected to calculate traditional weighted average cost of capital. I said you should mute. Some of you are still talking in the background. Emmanuel Okeme, please, everybody mute. Please. Thank you. So we now begin to discuss each component one after the other. We started with cost of equity. And I told you that when you want to calculate that cost of equity is the minimum required rate of return expected by the ordinary shareholders from their investment in a company. All right. And that I showed you the method of calculating cost of equity. That there are three major methods of calculating cost of equity. One is dividend valuation model. Two is capital pricing model. Then three, Miller and Modigliani. So I said that the dividend valuation model will be used when information on dividend and share price are given. When you are given information on dividend and share price, then you are supposed to use dividend valuation model to calculate your cost of equity. Of course, we did not talk about capital asset pricing model. I told you when we get to adjusted present value, we are going to do more of that. Even though capping has been taken out of your syllabus of strategic financial management, but we are going to, as we proceed, we are going to talk more on that. So we dwell so much on dividend valuation model in our last class. And I said that using dividend valuation model, cost of equity is computed as the ratio of dividend to ex-div share price, depending on whether dividend will remain constant to perpetuity or dividend will grow. All right. Whether or not dividend will grow, of course, cost of equity using dividend valuation model is the ratio of dividend to share price. And then, of course, we talk about, I gave you the formula for calculating cost of equity where dividend will remain constant, then the other one where dividend will grow. All right. So we talk about XDiv share price. We'll talk about CumDiv share price. I said XDiv share price is the share price that exclude dividend. And when calculating cost of equity, only the XDiv share price should be used. You don't use CumDiv share price to calculate cost of equity. I mentioned to you that CumDiv share price is the share price that include dividend. So CumDiv share price is the share price that include dividend. You don't use CumDiv share price to calculate cost of equity. So when CumDiv share price is given, it should be converted to XDiv share price by deducting the current dividend from the CumDiv share price. So we discussed that. Then finally, we talk about estimating growth rate. How do you calculate growth rate? What are the methods of computing growth rate? We discussed it. I gave you two methods of calculating growth rate. One is historical pattern of dividend payment, which is also known as averaging method. I said that the historical pattern of dividend payment should be used when the history of dividend payments are given. When you are given the history of dividend paid, so you are supposed to use averaging method. All right. And I gave you two formulas that you can use, and I demonstrated it on the board, how you can calculate it. Then the second one, which is the Gordon growth. I said Gordon growth model should be used to calculate growth rates when information on earnings as well as the capital employed are given in a question. That's when you use Gordon growth model. And I think that's where we stopped last time. I'm not sure. I can't remember if we did anything on the preference share, cost of preference share. Please, you can remind me. For those of you that were around last time, did you do anything on preference share?
No, sir. No, sir.
It's okay then. So that's where we stopped. Did you do any example?
No, sir.
We did not do any example, any calculation?
No, he promised to be today.
Oh, okay then. So in that case, before we move to cost of preference share, let's have short example just to demonstrate what we did last time. And again, for the benefits of those that are just joining today, so they will be able to learn one or two things from what we did last time before we move to cost of preference share. So in case you have any question for me, always raise your hand. I will attend to you. All right. So let's quickly have short examples to drive the points. Okay. Let's start with illustration number 1. Let's start from there. Arsenal PLC, please, you can open to the material at your end. If you don't have access to the material and you are in the SFM group, so you can just chat on the SFM group that somebody should please share with you. All right? Okay then. Arsenal PLC is financed with 10 million ordinary shares of 1 naira each, currently quoted at 1 naira 25 kobo, CumDiv. If I'm the one reading this on the day of the exam and I saw something like CumDiv, I need to underline it because I don't need to, once you underline it, you show that there's something you want to do there. That information is important. All right. The company's current dividend of 22 kobo, okay, is about to be paid, and this dividend will remain constant to perpetuity, which means that there is no growth. There's no growth as far as the dividend is concerned for Arsenal PLC. So you are required to calculate the company's cost of equity. Now, examiner is asking you to calculate cost of equity. You need to ask yourself, before you put your pen to paper, you must ask the question that what kind of cost of equity do I want to calculate? Is it cost of equity using dividend valuation model? Is it cost of equity using capital asset pricing model? Is it cost of equity using Miller and Modigliani formula? For whatever one you want to calculate, of course, the information will be there in the question to do justice to it. So now, when I explained to you, I mentioned that dividend valuation model should be used when information on dividend and share price are given. So in this question, you are given dividend of 22 kobo. You are given share price of 1.25 kobo. That means we are supposed to calculate cost of equity using dividend valuation model. So if that is the case, then I will bring my and now begin to solve. I will start from the name. I don't want to switch to the working notes. Let me just, since this, when I need a bigger space, I will move to the working notes. But for now, let's manage this. All right. So I will then say Arsenal PLC. That's the name of the company. Examiner is asking us to calculate cost of equity. I will then say calculating cost of equity. KE. So before I put down my formula, I must identify from the question whether dividend will remain constant or dividend will grow. So examiner has told me that dividend will remain constant to perpetuity. There is no growth. Therefore, if there is no growth, cost of equity will be the current dividend. Current dividend is denoted as DO divided by XDIV, share price, multiplied by 100 over 1 equal. Now, the current dividend as given to all is 22 kobo. That's 0.22 divided by XDIV share price. According to the question, you are told that the company's share is currently quoted at 1.25 kobo cum div. Like I explained to you earlier, you don't use cum div share price. Cum div share price is the share price that includes dividend. So you must have paid the dividend before you compute your cost of equity. So if dividend is still outstanding, like in this case, we are told that the dividend is about to be paid. You are also told that the share price is 125 kobo cum div. That's tautology. All right. Once you see cum div, that means dividend has not been paid. If examiner does not put cum div, does not indicate cum div, and you are told that it's about to be paid, that means dividend is still outstanding. That means the share price is also cum div. But when you are using cum div, you're also saying that the dividend is yet to be paid or is about to be paid. That's tautology. You are repeating. That's repetition. All right. So, but let's move on. Now, you cannot use the 1.25 kobo to calculate your cost of equity. So you need to convert it to XDIV. I would then say XDIV. I will go and do my working somewhere. XDIV share price is equal to cum div share price minus current dividend okay, which is equal to the cum div share price is 1.25 kobo minus minus the current dividend. Current dividend is 22 kobo, 0.22. Therefore, my XDIV share price is 1.03 kobo. Okay, I will then come here, 1.03 kobo multiplied by 100 over 1. Final answer. KE will then be equal to, please always come with your calculator when you are coming to the class, so that you participate. 0.22 divided by 1.03 multiplied by 100%. That's 21%, 21.35, rounding 21%. So the cost of equity of Arsenal PLC is approximately 21%. This is how to calculate cost of equity where there's no growth. In this particular question, there are two concepts that examiner wants to test. One is how to calculate cost of equity where there is no growth. Then two, how to convert cum div share price to XDIV share price. Those are the two principles that examiner wants to test in this particular question. So I believe that is clear. Again, please, if you have any question, always raise your hand. I will attend to you. Now, If you are fine with that, then let's move to the second one. Please, if I'm too fast, you have to call my attention. I wouldn't know. If I'm too fast, let me know. If I'm too slow, tell me that I'm not making sense. I'm too slow. So, okay, then let's move on to the second one if you are fine with it. Yes. Sanchez PLC is financed with 20 million ordinary share capital of 1 naira each, currently quoted at 1 naira 25 kobo. Okay. The company current dividend of 20 kobo is about to be paid. That means that 1 naira 25 kobo is cum div. All right. This dividend will grow at a rate of 5% per annum to perpetuity. Required, calculate, what is the company cost of equity? Now, this one is similar to the first one that we solved, but however, you are told that dividend will grow at a rate of 5% per annum. So there's growth rates given to us. So in that case, we cannot use the same formula we used in the first one. So we have to change it. We have to include growth. So let me look for a space. I've found one here. So I would then say the name of this company is Sanchez. So Sanchez, let me write that. Sanchez PLC. You are asked to calculate cost of equity. I would then say calculating cost of equity. Please bear in mind, this is not the kind of question you are going to see on the day of your exam. This is for explanation purpose. This is to test the principle. This is to drive home the points. This is not the kind of question you are going to see on the day of your exam. So when we get to weighted average cost of capital, so you'll be seeing the likely question. All right, the likely questions that you can meet on that day. All right. So for now, let's keep going. So because in this particular question of Sanchez PLC, we have been given growth rates. Therefore, our formula will change slightly. Since there's growth, then cost of equity, let me write that. Cost dividend, DO represent current dividend, multiplied by 1 plus the growth rate divided by XDiv X dividend share price plus the growth rate. All of this multiplied by 100 over 1. So this is the formula for calculating cost of equity where there is growth in dividend payments. Therefore, I would then say cost of equity equal. I will go back to the question. What is the current dividend given to us? We are told that the company's current dividend of 20 kobo is about to be paid. 20 kobo is the current dividend, 0.20. Multiply by 1 plus the growth rate. We have been given a growth rate of 5%. Okay, we are given a growth rate of 5%. So let's indicate that. 5% plus 1, that will give us 1.05 divided by XDiv share price. Like I mentioned to you last week, I like to use XDiv share price as the denominator. I like to put XDiv so that will call your attention that to go and check from the question whether dividend has been paid or not. If I just put share price, there's likelihood that you may forget to check whether dividend has been paid or not. Okay, so let's move on. Now, what's the share price? You are told that the share is currently quoted at 1 naira 25 kobo, but the dividend is still outstanding because we are told that it's about to be paid. That means that 1 naira 25 kobo is cum div. So we need to convert the cum div to XDiv share price. So I can say, of course, you do your working. So our working is XDiv. We want to calculate XDiv share price. I want to use the tabular method to do this. I'll just say cum div share price. Okay, cum div share price. According to the question, we are given 1 naira 25 kobo. Then you less current dividend. Current dividend of 20 kobo. That's the 20 kobo you are seeing here. So when you less, that will give us 1.05. So that represents the XDiv share price. At this point, I can then proceed to calculate the cost of equity. So here will be the 1.05. Okay, 1.05 plus the growth rate of 5%, 0.05. Everything multiplied by 100%. A wise student should have gone ahead. Before I ask you for figure, give me the answer. What do you have in your calculator?
25%.
Yes, 25%. Thank you. 25%. So that's it. That's the cost of equity for Sanchez PLC. The cost of equity of Sanchez PLC is 25%. This is how to calculate cost of equity where there is growth in dividend payment. We are lucky in this question because we are given growth rate. In some instances, growth rate will not be given to you. You are the one that will estimate yourself. So let's move on. We are getting there. The next one, let's move to illustration number 3. Like I said, please, if you have any question, always raise your hand. Let me hear from you. Now, I need one of you to read illustration number 3, Ozi PLC. Who will help us? If you want to read, just raise your hand. I will call you to read it. Yes, Emmanuel, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, Ozi PLC is a company with 5 million ordinary share of 1 naira each, currently quoted at 1 naira 40 kobo as at 31st December 2012. The company's current dividend of 30 kobo is about to be paid. The historical trend of the company's dividend is given below. Year 2007, 15 kobo in dividend, 2008, 18 kobo in dividend, 2009, 20 kobo in dividend, 2010, 24 kobo in dividend, 2011, 27 kobo in dividend, 2012, 30 kobo in dividend. You are required to calculate the company's cost of equity capital.
Thank you very much. Yes, that is the question. Examiner is asking you to calculate the company's cost of equity capital. Now, before I switch, because I will need a bigger space to solve this, all right? I don't think I have such space here. So before I switch, you want to calculate cost of equity. You notice, of course, you have been given market price of the company's share to be 1 naira 40 kobo. But examiner has told you that the company's current dividend of 30 kobo is about to be paid, which means that the dividend is still outstanding. If dividend is still outstanding, then the market price of the company's share of 1 naira 40 kobo is cum div. This is cum div. So you cannot use that 1.4. You need to less 30 from the 1.4 to arrive at 1.1 before that will be your XD. Then also, examiner has told you that the historical trend of the company's dividend is given below. So the dividend paid in 2007 up to 2012, information of the amount paid were given to you. So you can see that dividend has increased from 15 kobo in 2007 to 30 kobo in 2012, which means that dividend has grown. Okay, dividend has increased. So in this case, you need to calculate your growth rate. All right. How do you then calculate your growth rate? Are you using historical pattern of dividend payment, or you want to use Gordon growth? Of course, you are expected to use historical pattern of dividend payment because the history of dividend payments are given to you. So if that is the case, let me switch to the working notes so that we can quickly solve this. Okay. The name of the company is Ozi. Let me put it as solution. So illustration 3. I think that's page 45. Let me confirm. No, page 28. Page 28 to 29. Okay. Ozi PLC. Examiner is asking us to calculate cost of equity capital. So I would then say determining cost of equity capital. Cost of equity, denoted as KE. Okay. Because we have identified in the question that dividend has grown from 15 kobo to 30 kobo. In that case, our formula must include growth rate. So I would then say KE equal to current dividend multiplied by 1 plus the growth rate divided by XDIV. X dividend share price plus the growth rate. All of this multiplied by 100 over 1. So this is the formula for calculating the cost of equity where there is growth. Of course, DO is the current dividend or latest dividend. G is the growth rate. Yes, Minister of Finance, talk to me.
Why are we using this formula since we're giving historical pattern of the good?
This is the formula for calculating cost of equity. All right. So because there is growth in the question, we have identified that dividend has grown from 15 kobo to 20 to 30 kobo. So you need to calculate growth rates. All right.
Okay.
So, yeah. Then I would then say KE equal to, I will go back to the question. You have access to the question. Please, let's do it together. The current dividend is 30 kobo. All right. That's 30 kobo. Here will be 0.3 into 1 plus growth rate. We don't know the growth rate, so let's go and estimate the growth rate. This should be, let's start working from here. Okay. Working number 1, we want to calculate growth rates. Growth rates, G. So like I said, you need to identify from the question, which method are you going to use to calculate your growth rates? Are you using dividend? Are you using a historical pattern of dividend payments, or you want to use Gordon growth? I've already explained to you, historical pattern of dividend payment will be used because the history of dividend payments are given. We are given the amount of dividend paid across all relevant years. Therefore, you are expected to use historical pattern. I would then say G equal to n minus 1 into square root latest dividend divided by dividend paid in the first year, all minus 1 equal. Now, we go back to the question. From 2007 up to 2012, how many years do we have there? 2007 to 2012, how many years? Talk
6
to me.
years.
6 years. So that means our N is equal to 6. N is 6. So 6 minus 1 into square root. Latest dividend is 30. That's the current year dividend, 30 kobo. Dividend paid in the first year in 2007 is 15, or minus 1. So I can say G is equal to 5 into square root. 30 divided by 15 is 2, or minus 1. Okay, mathematically, I can use my calculator to get this. If you don't know how to use second function in your calculator, then I can convert this one to power of 0.2. So I can just say, of course, G equal to 2 raised to power, let me put it down so that you'll be able to understand better. G equal to 2 raised to power. The 5 that you have here, just divide it by 1. Usually, the formula, you can convert the formula to say G equal to LD divided by BD raised to power 1 over N, or minus 1. So you are still saying the same thing. However, whenever you have N minus 1, you must first of all deduct minus 1 from N before you can use this formula. So you can't say 1 over 6. You can't say ID raised to power 1 over 6 minus, no. You need to first of all deduct the 1, all right? So in this case, I can say 5, you have 5 here, so 1 over 5. So raised to power 1 over 5, or minus 1, equal to 2 raised to power 0.20. 1 divided by 5 is 0.2, all right? Then all minus 1. See, on the day of your exam, you don't have time to be doing all this step by step, one by one. Just use your calculator, get your answer, and move on, all right? So in this case, 2 raised to power 0.2. 2 raised to power 0.2 equal, then minus 1 equal, multiply by 100%, equal, that's 14.87, is approximately 15%. The growth rate is approximately 15%. Yes, Emmanuel, you raise and talk to me.
Yes, sir. Please. What is the full meaning of BD?
I said dividend paid in the first year, or base year, you can call it base year dividend, or dividend paid in the first year.
Oh, okay. Thank you, because I was getting confused. Thank you. That's all.
Yeah, well, all right then. Now that we have computed the growth rate, we can go back to calculating the cost of equity. So 15% is the growth rate. 1 plus 15% will give us 1.15 divided by, we need XDIV share price. The share price given to us of 1 naira 40 kobo is cum div because dividend has not been paid. Therefore, we need to convert it to XDIV. So working number 2. Working number 2, we want to calculate XDIV. X dividend share price. Former or charity, hold on. Okay. XDIV share price. So you are going to convert the cum div to XDIV. You pick the cum div. Don't forget what I said. The cum div simply means cumulative. That is the share price that include dividend. So cum div share price. So according to the question, we are given 1 naira 40 kobo. So you are going to less the current dividend. Current dividend is 30 kobo. That is the dividend in 2012. So the difference is 1.1. So this represents the XDIV share price. That's it. So I can then come here and say 1.10. All right, plus the growth rate of 15%. All of this multiplied by 100 over 1. So KE Somebody should give me the answer. Charity, hold on. I'm coming back to you. Yes,
46%.
46.
46%, sir.
Thank you. The cost of
46%.
equity of OZPLC is approximately 46%. Please always try it at your end so that you understand how we got the number. In case you don't get it, you need to ask for clarity. So don't just allow people to be doing it on their own. You need to participate so that in case you don't get it right, then you can quickly get a clarification. Yes, Charity, go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I did not get my growth rate though.
Your growth rate, you not get 15%?
Yes, I do. Like I'm doing 5 square root 2 minus 1. It's not showing me the same thing with my calculator.
5, hold on. You did 5 square root. Okay, did you put second function? If you don't put second function, you won't get it right.
So what's the second
That's what
function?
is in your calculator. The second function symbol or sign is in your calculator. That's what I have to convert it because I know some students will have challenge in getting the second function. So that's what I convert it to this. All right. Do you get?
No.
You know what? Okay, well, no worry. What I will do is that possibly I will do a short video to demonstrate how to convert. I will share with you on the SFM group how to use the second function. All right?
All right, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. If you are okay with this, let me know so that we can move to the next one. All right. There's one more example. Let me see if you have it in the question. If not, let me stop sharing this first. There is a particular question, short example as well, that has to do with using Gordon growth model. Let me see if I have it. I don't want my pen to disappear. That's what I'm writing on the screen. There's a show. No, it's not here. Do I have that? Okay. I think I share with my, let me see. Let me quickly bring it out. I think I share similar question on myself. Okay, that's SFM.
Sir, please, can you still go back to the solution? Let me just take a snap.
No worry, don't worry yourself. We are going to share the notes. Immediately after this class, I will share the notes. Okay? Is that fine by you?
All right, sir.
Okay. There's a particular question I want to, I don't know if, okay, yesterday. Let me check quickly. No. Which group we use? Oh, this is online now. It's solo. Okay.
The Moreno PLC.
Yes, Moreno PLC, please. It's Moreno. It's Moreno PLC. But I think I shared it with. Let me try. Yeah. Okay, I'm not sure. No worries. Let me find another alternative.
It's in the
I just
golden book
want.
now.
Yes, I want to open to the Golden Book. But I just want to, before we go to a bigger kind of question, I'd like to complete the concept using short examples. Okay? And that's what I want to ensure I do it. Just 1 minute, please. Okay. Search. Marino. Okay.
And you have SFM book or SFM of that material too.
Pardon?
You have XFM of the same book too.
SFM. You mean
Yes,
my
I thought it's
golden book, SFM golden book?
yes.
Yes, I do.
Okay, I thought it's only PMO.
This is SFM is my first baby.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. The first I published, it was first published in 2020. This is a later edition. All right, so I'm going to talk about it later on, but I just want us to concentrate first. Now, please let me know if you can see my screen.
Confirm, sir.
All right, then. So let's quickly look at the question together. Yes, I need somebody to read for us.
Okay. Morino PLC is financed entirely by equity. The company has 150,000 ordinary shares of 1 naira each, currently quoted at 3 naira 42 kobo ex div. Okay. The company's current dividend of 6,158 was paid recently out of the company's earnings of 62,858 naira. The capital employed of the company is 315,000 and a dividend of 2,473 naira was paid 5 years ago by the company. Required, what is the company's cost of equity capital?
Thank you very much. Yes, that is the question. That is the question examiner is asking you to calculate the company's cost of equity capital. Now, the reason why I want us to demonstrate, to solve this particular question is because of the fact that I want to show you how to calculate growth rate using Gordon growth model. All right. So in this particular question, examiner told us that the current dividend, the current dividend has been paid. The current dividend of 6,158 naira was recently paid, which of course the market price per share of 3 naira 42 kobo is already ex-div. All right. Not only that, in this particular question, the examiner also gave us information on earnings. When you are given earnings of 62,858 naira, you are given capital employed of 315,000 naira. So that means there is growth in dividend payments. So because I told you the Gordon growth model should be used to calculate growth rates when information on earnings as well as the capital employed are given, then that's when you use Gordon growth. Not only that, in addition to that, in this particular question, you are also given information on dividend. The dividend paid 5 years ago. So you are given historical pattern information as well. So that means we are going to calculate two different growth rates. So if you calculate two different growth rates, you must calculate two different cost of equity. So one cost of equity using historical pattern of dividend payment, the second cost of equity using Gordon growth model. That is the peculiarity of this question. All right. So if that is the case, let's quickly solve it. Because you don't have access to the material, I don't want to switch so that you won't be asking me where is the question? So let me just explain it to you what we are going to do. Now, to solve this particular question, first thing first, we have identified from the question that dividend will grow because the examiner has told us we have been given information on earnings up to be 62,858. We're also given capital employed of 315,000. That means dividend will grow. In addition to that, we're also given the history of dividend paid 5 years ago. That means we are also going to use historical pattern. Therefore, I need to first of all go and calculate the growth rate using Gordon growth. I will also calculate growth rate using historical pattern of dividend payment. Once that is done, then I need to already the share price given to us, 3.42 naira is already ex-div, so there is no need for me to make any adjustment. However, I need to determine from this question whether I want to use par value or I want to use absolute value. David Ambi, well done. You are the one distracting my class. Yeah, mute. Now, mute, please. Thank you. So, because you can decide either you want to use absolute value or you want to use par value. Whether you use absolute or par value, you are going to get the same answer. But what is important is that you must give apple for apple. If your market price per share is 3.42 naira, that's par value. But the dividend given to you is absolute value because that one is 6,158. Two things you can do. You can either convert the total dividend of 6,158 to dividend per share, or you convert the market price per share of 3.42 naira to absolute value by multiplying number of shares with the share price. So whichever one you do, you are going to get the same answer. But again, let's move on quickly. Let's solve this. Now, let me first of all show you the workings that we need to do. Now, to calculate the growth rates, like I said, we are using the based on the information given in the question, we are given information on earnings. You're also given information on the historical pattern of dividend payment, which means that you are going to use we are going to calculate two different growth rates. So I started with historical pattern of dividend payment. So, and I explained to you last week that I gave you two different formulas that you can use to calculate your growth rate using historical pattern. One is G. Let me quickly refresh your. We said G equal to N minus 1. We have calculated this one today. N minus 1 into LD divided by BD. I told you that this minus 1, I told you that this formula is used when the history of dividend payment is given for all the relevant years from year 1 to the end. You are given the amount of dividend paid. That is when you use this formula. We have used this formula today. Now, the second formula, which is G equal to N into latest dividend divided by dividend paid in the first year, or minus 1. I told you that this particular formula should be used when the dividend paid in the first year and the current year dividend are given. That is only when you use this second formula. So in this particular question, you are only given the dividend paid in the first year and the current year dividend. Look at, you are told that a dividend of 2,473 naira was paid 5 years ago. The first year dividend is 2,473. The current year dividend is 6,158. So you are given information on the dividend paid in the first year and then the current year. Therefore, your formula will be G equal to N into square root latest dividend divided by dividend paid in the first year. And that is why we use this formula here. So to now put the figures there, of course, you know that LD is the latest dividend, that is the current year dividend. The current year dividend is 6,158 according to the question. This is it. Let me remove all this so that we look neater. Okay. Now, the current dividend is 6,158 naira, and that's what we are seeing here. This is the 6,158. All right. And according to the question is 5. Because you are told that you are given the amount of dividend paid 5 years ago. 5 years ago, that's N. So that's why you are seeing the 5 year. Okay. Then the current year dividend is 2,473. When you put it in the formula, The final answer is 20%. All right, the final answer is 20%. If you want to break it down further, I can say 6,158 divided by 2,473, all raised to power. Inside the square roots, outside the square roots, you have 5. So that will be 1/5. This will be 1/5. Okay? Now, don't forget 1/5 is equal to 0.2. So in this case, you can just say 6,158 divided by 2,473 equal, then raised to power 0.2. 1/5 is equal to 0.2 raised to power 0.2 equal. All right, that's the 1.2 you are seeing there. That's 1.2 you are seeing there. Then all minus 1, you less 1. Then you multiply with 100%. So that's what gave us the 20%. Okay. So that's all you need to do. That's what you need to do. So just say minus 1. So then multiply by 100%. That's 20%. That's it. So that's how we got the 20% using the historical pattern. I will go for the second one, which is calculating Gordon growth. We said that Gordon growth should be used when information on earnings as well as capital employed are given. That's when you use the Gordon growth. In this particular question, you are given earnings of 62,858. All right. Then you're also given capital employed of 315,000. Therefore, to get your growth rate, G equal to return on capital employed multiplied by the retention rate. Okay, return R is the return of capital employed. R equal to return on capital employed. Okay, all right. Then B is the retention. You can call it return on capital employed, return on investment, or rate of return, whatever you want to call it, is the same thing. All right. Michael, hold on. I will get back to you. Now, so all you need to do is to put it in the formula to get your return on capital employed. Return on capital employed is profit after tax divided by the capital employed. Profit after tax is the same thing as earnings. Okay. Profit after tax is the same thing as earnings. So earnings divided by capital employed. Earnings we are given in the question is 62,858. Capital employed we are given 315,000. So the return on capital employed is 20%. You do the same thing. The next thing we want to do is to calculate the retention rate. Retention rate is earnings divided by earnings minus dividend divided by earnings. Okay, earnings minus dividend divided by earnings. So put it in the formula. We are given earnings of 62,858 minus dividend of 6,158. When you divide, you get 90%. So return on capital employed multiplied by the retention rate will give us 18%. So growth rates using Gordon growth model is 18%. So because you have calculated two different growth rates, then you must calculate two different cost of equity. So before we proceed, let me answer Michael. Mike, talk to me.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
Okay, okay, sorry to draw you back. Okay, when we calculate for this question that you are solving now, for the historical pattern, the formula is growth is equal to minus 1. So, but what you were solving, you said it was 5 years ago, but you used just 5. You didn't do 5 minus 1 raised to power the latest dividend over.
No, in this particular one, you don't put n minus 1. I said it. Because when you are given information on the dividend paid in the first year and the current year, you don't put minus 1. Just look at if you can see my screen. This n minus 1, you use it when you are given information on the on dividend for all the relevant years from year 1 to year 5, you are given the information on the amount of dividend paid. That is when you use this first formula. All right.
Okay.
But
Yes,
when
sir.
you are given information on the amount of dividend paid in the first year and the current year, so you don't use the first one, you are going to use the second one. And that's what we use in this particular question. You're only given amount of dividend paid 5 years ago and the current year dividend. Therefore, you are supposed to use this second formula. Is it clear now, Mike?
Yes, it's clear now. It's clear.
All right then. So now that we have computed 2 different growth rates, so we need to go and calculate 2 different costs of equity. So
Sir,
the
wait,
first,
oh,
wait where? Wait where now? You said I should wait for what? Are you
for the
copying your?
retention rate. I'm not copying, I'm trying to solve it while you are doing it.
I should wait for you to solve.
No, I'm trying to call you back on something.
Talk now.
The retention rate, which dividend am I going to use? Is it the one of 5 years of 2,473 or 6,158?
For retention rates.
Yes, sir.
And now, the retention rates is you cannot use is the current dividend you are going to use, not the dividend paid 5 years ago. Is the current year dividend. That's the 6,158.
All right, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's calculate the cost of equity. Now, because there's growth, therefore, the formula we are going to use to calculate cost of equity is current dividend multiplied by 1 plus the growth rate divided by SDIV share price, then plus the growth rate, all multiplied by 100%. We have used this formula earlier today. Now, all we need to, because we are using historical pattern of dividend payment, the growth rate we computed for historical pattern of dividend payment is 20%. Let me show you again. This is the 20% for historical pattern. All right, we calculated 20% as the growth rate. All right, so that's the 20% you are seeing there. Of course, now, I mentioned to you the other time, you can either use par value or you use absolute value. So you have a choice. But in this particular material, I demonstrated the two so that whichever one that is more convenient for you is what you should do. However, on the day of your exam, don't go and be showing so much skills because you know so much. You now begin to be wasting time and be demonstrating absolute value. You demonstrate par value. Oh, that's where Mr. Adeju wants to solve it. No. Anyone that is more convenient for you is what you should choose. Don't go and be doing the two. Examiner will not mark the second one for you. All right? So don't go and be wasting time. Okay, then let's move on. Now, in this first one, I use absolute value. And that's why you see that what do I mean by absolute value? Because dividend in the question is given in absolute value. Total dividend of 6,158 naira is the dividend paid. All right. So, but the market price, the SDIV share price given to us is 3 naira 42 kobo. So for me to convert it to absolute value, I need to multiply the market price per share with the number of shares to get the total market value. So 3.42 multiplied by 150 shares will give us 513,000 naira. All right, so put it, of course, 6,158 multiplied by 1.2, that will give us 7,390 divided by 513, okay, equal, then plus 0.2, which is the growth rate. Final answer is 21%. So the cost of equity using historical pattern of dividend payment is 21%. So here I use absolute value. I use absolute value. In this other one, I use par value. I use par value. So you can see that for me to be able to use par value, because why did I demonstrate in this second one, dividend per share is given as absolute, which is 6,158. but market price per share is 3 naira 42 kobo. So I need to convert dividend to par value. I need to calculate dividend per share. To get dividend per share, of course, is total dividend divided by number of shares. This is the formula for calculating dividend per share. Total dividend divided by number of shares. So this gave us the dividend per share of 4 kobo. All right, so that's the 4 kobo you are seeing here. That's the 4 kobo you are seeing here, 0.04. Then multiply by 1.2. That gave us, of course, divided by 3.2 plus 0.2. So total, we got 21%, which is the same thing as this one. So whether you use par value or you use absolute value, you are expected to get the same answer. So overall, cost of equity using historical pattern of dividend payment is approximately 21% for Moreno PLC. Then the second one is to use Gordon growth model. Using Gordon growth model, the only thing that will change is the growth rates. The dividend and the share price, everything will still remain the same as under historical pattern. The only thing that will change is the growth rate, because using Gordon growth model, we calculated 18% as our growth rate. This is the 18% as our growth rate. So that's the only thing that will change in the formula. All right. So when you do that, using the absolute value, 6,158 multiplied by 1.18, we got 7266 divided by market value, total market value, then plus 18%. So total, we got 19% overall. If I want to use par value for this second one, if I want to use par value, the dividend per share is 0.04 multiplied by the growth rate. 1 plus growth rate, that's 1.18. Then divided by XDIV share price, which is 3 naira 42 kobo, plus the growth rate of 18%. All of this multiplied by 100 over 1. All right. So I will get the same thing, which is going to be the same thing as 19%. You can use your calculator to confirm it. Let me even try it. So 0.04 multiplied by 1.18 equal divided by 3.42 equal plus 18%, 0.18 equal multiplied by 100 equal 19.38. So approximately 19%. So whether you use absolute value or power value, you are expected to get the same answer. And then I think that's end of the question. Let me know if you have any question for me. At this point, we are moving to cost of preference share. All right, we are moving to cost of preference share. Let me know if you have any question for me before we switch. Okay, so in the absence of no further question, let's move on. Let's talk about cost of preference share. Okay, let me see. All right, let me stop sharing this. Okay, let's go to cost of preference share. Cost of preference share, KP. So the cost of preference share is the rate of return expected by the preference shareholders from their investments in a company. The preference shareholders are entitled to fixed dividend from the company. The preference shareholders are entitled to fixed dividend, which means that there is no growth in preference share. Preference dividend will not grow, to remain constant. That's why we say it is fixed dividend. Okay? Now, in the event of liquidation of a company, when a company collapses, when a company liquidates, the preference shareholders will be settled before the ordinary shareholders, but after the debt holders must have been settled. I repeat, in the event of liquidation of a company, the preference shareholders will be settled before the ordinary shareholders, but after the debt holders must have been settled. Basically, there are, of course, we have cumulative preference share, non-cumulative preference share, participating preference share, non-participating preference share. We have redeemable preference share. We also have irredeemable preference share. All right. The cumulative, non-cumulative, participative, non-participating preference share, they are purely theoretical. For example, when you say cumulative preference share, it means that, you know, in the POL, in the profit or loss account, when a company makes profits, let's say, for example, your profit after tax, from the profit after tax, you are supposed to pay dividend. So first thing first, you need to settle the preference shareholders by paying the preference dividend before you pay the ordinary dividend. So if in a year a company make loss, the company will not be able to pay any dividend. Therefore, you are expected to carry forward the preference dividend you are supposed to pay in the first year, for example, you carry it forward to the second year. That is cumulative. So if in the second year, still the company does not make a profit, again, you need to carry it forward to the third year. Until the company is able to make profit to recover, that's only when the preference dividend will be paid. So you are accumulating it. That's why it is called cumulative preference share. All right. If in that third year, the profit that the company earns is not sufficient to cover the preference dividend, so you can only, whatever the balance that is outstanding, you also carry forward until you have profit again to pay. So that's why it is called cumulative. The non-cumulative means that in any year that the company does not, that the company make loss, then of course you cannot pay preference dividend. That means that preference dividend is gone. You cannot cumulate it. All right. So that's basically that. But like I said, those ones are purely theoretical. You can't. That's not the kind of a thing that will be testing that will be tested in your exam. So it's purely theoretical. Now, where you are going to have calculation will be redeemable and then irredeemable. So let's talk about cost of redeemable preference share and the irredeemable preference share. First thing first, you need to know what is redeemable preference share, what is irredeemable preference share. The redeemable preference share is the one in which the company will pay both the annual fixed dividend and the principal at the maturity date. I repeat again, let me put it down. Redeemable preference share. Okay, this is the one. This is the type of preference share. Let me write it. This is the type of preference shares in which the company will pay. The company will pay annual fixed dividend and the principal at the maturity date. So maturity date is the same thing as redemption date, or yes, it's the same thing as a redemption date. That is the day the company will redeem the preference share. All right, by paying the principal amounts. Okay. Now, the cost of redeemable preference share Let me put it down. The cost, before that, preference share, it should be noted. It should be noted that preference share, let's put it as PS. No, let's just write it out in full. Preference share can be redeemed at par, premium, or at a discount. So if preference share is redeemed at par, which means at 1 naira, that's at a nominal value. Nominal value is usually 1 naira. All right. So if it is quoted at 1 naira, that means at a nominal value. But if it's at a premium, that means it is more than 1 naira. It could be 1 naira 5 kobo. It could be 1 naira 10 kobo. It could be 1 naira 20 kobo. So that's at a premium. But if it's at a discount, it will be less than 1 naira. So 1 naira is the benchmark because that benchmark is the par value. So if it's at a discount, that means it is less than 1 naira. It could be 90 kobo. Okay, it could be 80 kobo. It could be 95 kobo. All right, that is at a discount. All right. Then, how do you estimate cost of redeemable preference share? The cost of redeemable preference share, the cost of redeemable preference share is calculated as internal rate of return, as internal rate of return, IRR. Okay, the cost of redeemable preference share is computed as internal rate of return by assuming two discount rates, that will produce two opposing NPV, that is a positive NPV and a negative NPV. Okay. That's how to whenever you are asked to calculate cost of redeemable preference shares, simply go ahead and calculate internal rate of return. It's as simple as that. How do you then calculate internal rate of return? Two procedures. One, you assume two discount rate that will produce two opposing NPV. Then two, you calculate internal rate of return. That's all. The internal rate of return is the same thing as cost of redeemable preference share. Okay. And I said by assuming two discount rate that will produce two opposing NPV, and then calculate internal rate of return using the formula below. Okay, so internal rate of return is computed, of course, which is the same thing as, let me put it this way. Let me change it. Let me write this. Calculate cost of redeemable preference share or internal rate of return using the formula below. Okay, so KP, which is cost of redeemable preference share, which is the same thing as internal rate of return, is calculated as lower discount rates plus the NPV of the lower discount rates divided by NPV of the lower discount rates plus the NPV of the higher discount rates. All of this multiplied by higher discount rate minus lower discount rates. You recall what I told you last time. For you to do well in strategic financial management, you must be ready and willing to memorize formula. SFM is formula driven, okay? SFM is formula driven. You can't shy away from formula. All right, so let's move on. So whenever you are asked, I repeat, whenever you are asked to calculate cost of redeemable preference share, this is the formula you are going to use. Just go ahead and calculate internal rate of return. It's as simple as that. So let's look for short example to demonstrate that. Let me stop sharing. Okay. Let's see. Yes. I need one of you to read illustration number 5. Johnson PLC. Who is helping us? Do we have Johnson in this class? Who is helping us to read?
Johnson PLC is finance.
Thank you.
Johnson PLC is financed with 1 million redeemable preference shares with a nominal value of 1 naira and nominal rate of 8%, but currently quoted at 1 naira 5 kobo ex div. The preference share will be redeemed par in 5 years' time. Required, calculate the cost of preference shares.
Thank you. So we are required to calculate cost of preference share. All right. You can see in these requirements, examiner did not tell you to calculate cost of redeemable preference share. So preference share will be redeemable if and only if the redemption date is given to you. In this particular question, you are given when the preference share will mature, all right, which is in 5 years' time. If this redemption date is not given there, then in that case, you are going to calculate as cost of irredeemable preference share. But in this question, we are given the redemption date. Therefore, we are going to calculate internal rate of return as the cost of redeemable preference share. Now, what are we supposed to do? We want to calculate cost of redeemable preference share. What are you supposed to do? Two steps. The first step, you assume 2 discount rate that will produce 2 opposing NPV. That is, you are going to assume 1 discount rate to calculate positive NPV. You assume another discount rate that will produce negative NPV. Then step 2, you proceed to calculating the cost of redeemable preference share, that is internal rate of return. That's all you need to do. All right. No matter how big is the question, is the same thing. So let's go ahead and calculate. I will stop sharing this. So let's go to the working notes. Okay. Solution to illustration number 5. Okay, illustration 5, page. What page is that? That's page 29. Page 29. Okay. The name of the company is Johnson PLC. All right. So we are asked to calculate cost of preference share. We have identified from the question that this is redeemable preference share because the redemption date is given to us to be 5 years' time. Therefore, we want to calculate cost of redeemable preference share. So the first thing we need to do is to assume 2 discount rate that will produce 2 opposing NPV. That is, we assume 1 discount rate to produce positive NPV, then we assume another discount rate that will generate a negative NPV. Then step 2, we proceed to calculating the cost of redeemable preference share. All right, so I would then say calculating costs of redeemable preference share. Okay, KP. All right. Cost of redeemable preference share. First thing first, you assume 2 discount rates. First, we start with a discount rate. Now, whenever you want to assume discount rates, always start from 10%. Reason being that if 10% is positive, you can increase to 15%. If 10% is negative, you can reduce to 5%. But if you start from 5%, 5% is positive, you increase to 10%, 10% is positive, you just continue to do iteration. But when you start from 10%, that will minimize your iteration, all right? Because internal rate of return is a matter of trial and error. All right, is a trial and error. It's not something that's why it is subjective. You are the one that will assume the discount rate to be used. It won't be given to you. You are not going to be given the cost of capital that you are going to use. You are the one that will assume it. So that's why it is subjective. So let's start from 10%. Assume 10% discount rate. So we are going to use only one table to calculate the 2 NPV. That's the exam method I'm showing to you. All right. So to get my NPV, I will create a column for years. Okay. Description of items, cash flow, discount factor, ads. Then we also have present value. Okay. So we're starting from 10% discount rates. Okay, so year 0, we are told that this preference share will be redeemed in 5 years' time. So the maturity date is in 5 years' time. You recall when I was explaining the meaning of redeemable preference share, I said it's a type of preference share whereby the company is expected to pay annual fixed dividend and the principal at the maturity date. So annual fixed dividend, every year the company will be paying annual fixed dividend until the final day when the preference share will mature. So the maturity date in this question is 5 years. Therefore, the company will pay annual fixed dividend from year 1 up to year 5. So in the final year, it will be redeemed. So in year 0, you are going to have the current market value of the preference share. Year 1 to 5, the company will pay fixed dividend. Then in the final year, which is year 5, this preference share will be redeemed. So you are going to have redemption value here. Okay. So let me do my table. Divide this one into 2. Let me push one to the back. 10%. Okay. Divide this one into 2. Here is our NPV. This one is at 10%. Now, let's go back to the question. In year 0, you have the current market value of the preference share. According to the question, how much is the current market value of the preference share? Are you still with me or I'm on my own?
We're together.
So the current market, you are told that the preference share is currently quoted at 1 naira 5 kobo ex-div. So that's the market value per share of the preference share. So let's put it there. let's do working for, let's come here and do the working. So I will say working. I want to calculate the total market value. Working number 1, market value of the preference share is calculated as number of shares multiplied by XDIV, share price. That's how to calculate market value of total market value of preference share. Okay, the total, the preference share, the total preference share is, we are told that 1 million redeemable preference shares. Okay, so we have, let me write it out in full because of those number of shares multiplied by XDIV, share price. Here is 1 million shares multiplied by XDIV. The XDIV share price of the preference share is 1 naira 5 kobo, 1.05. When you multiply with 1 million, that will give us 1,050,000. So I can then come here and put 1,050,000. Here is 1 million and then 50,000. So in year 0, it will always be in bracket. Now, if I want to use par value, so be it. I will still get the same thing. So if I want to use par value, I will just put, okay, maybe I should just use par value. Maybe I should just use par value. So I will come here 1.05. That's the par value. Okay. Then the fixed dividend that the company will pay. You are told that, and nominal rate of 8%. That 8% is the percentage of dividend that the company will pay. That dividend will be paid from the nominal value. So you are going to multiply the nominal rate on the nominal value. The nominal value of the preference share is 1 naira. 8% of 1 naira is 8 kobo. Okay, 8% of 1 naira is 8 kobo. Let's go and do working for that. If I want to use market value, so instead of me to put 1.05, I will put 1,050,000. So I've changed my mind to use par value. So let's move on. Now I want to calculate fixed dividend. Fixed dividend. So the fixed dividend will be calculated as 8% of the nominal rates. Okay, 8% of the nominal rates. Nominal rate is 1 naira. So 8% of 1 naira will give us 8 kobo, 0.08 or 8 kobo. So I will then come here and put 8, 0.08. That's the dividend that the company will pay per share. If you multiply this 8 kobo by 1 million shares, that will give you 80,000 naira. Okay? Now, redemption value. According to the question, you are told that the preference share will be redeemed at par in 5 years' time. Par value is 1 naira. Like I explained to you, preference share can be redeemed at par, at a premium, or at a discount. So, since you are told that it will redeem at par, it means at 1 naira. So, I will then put 1 here. So, I need to discount this. Discount factor at 10% for year 0 is 1. Then I need to calculate annuity factor of year 1 to 5 at 10%. Let me show you. You already know this, but in case you have forgotten, let me show you. Annuity factor. For those of you that have the golden book, when you look at this particular question, I use absolute value, not par value. So this is another way of solving it. All right, so annuity factor AF is calculated as 1 minus 1 plus R raised to power minus N, all divided by R, equal 1 minus, we are assuming 10%. R is the discount rate that we assume. N is the useful life, maturity date, which is 5 years. So here will be 1.10 because we assume 10% raised to power minus 5. 5 is the maturity date, then divided by 0.10. Final answer. What do we have here? Okay, so bring up
3.790.
3.791, right?
Okay, yes, sir.
Yeah, so that's it. Please, if you don't know how we got the 3.791, you can always ask me. I will tell you. So let's go and put it down. 3 points. What's wrong with you? 3.791. So discount factor at 10% for year 5 will give us 0.621. So to now get the present value, 1.05 multiplied by 1 will give us 1.05. 0.08 multiplied by 3.71. What do you have there? 0.08 multiplied by 3.791.
Is 0.303.
Okay,
Is 0.303, sir.
0.302. Okay, 0.303. All right. So for year 5, 1 multiplied by 0.621. So this will give us 0.621. So let's add everything together. Let's get our NPV. So I would then say 0.621 plus 0.303 equal minus 1.05 equal, that's minus 1.3 minus 0.13 rather, or you can say 0.126, 0.126. Okay, so that's the NPV. So we assume 10%, we got a negative NPV of 0.126. Okay, so to now get a positive NPV, we need to reduce the discount rate to 5. Please, when you are calculating cost of capital, the difference between the two discount rates that you are going to assume should not be more than 5. If you have assumed 5 before, you cannot increase beyond 10. All right, that will be 5, additional 5, making 10. If you assume 10% and you want to increase to 15, you want to increase it to get a negative, then it should not be more than 15%. That is plus additional 5. If you assume 20%, and if 20% is positive, you are looking for negative, then you add additional 5 to it. That will be 25 to get negative. You cannot move from 20% to another 20%, making 40. Or you just move from 20% to 30% because you are looking for negative NPV. It's not applicable in the market. It's not attainable in the market. All right. You can't have such a rate in the market. All right. So let's move on. So we're assuming 5%. So here will be 5%. Somebody should give me annuity factor for year 1 to 5 at 5%. Just the same way I calculated the first one.
4.329.
Thank you very much. 4.329. Here is 4.329. So let's do annuity factor for year 5 at 5%. That will be 0.7 what?
835.
That's 0.784. All right. So let's multiply. 1.05 multiplied by 1 will give us 1.05 negative. This is at 5%. Then the next one, 4.329 multiplied by 0.08. What do you have?
0.346.
0.346.
46.
40. Did you say
46.
46? Okay. Then the last one, 0.784 multiplied by 1 will give us 0.781. So to now get the NPV, we need to add the positive present value. So here will be 0.784. Sorry, this is not 1. It's 4. 0.781. Sorry, 784 plus 0.346 equal minus 1.05 equal, that's 0.08, 0.08. So we assume 10%, we got a negative NPV of 0.126. We reduced to 5%, we got a positive NPV of 0.08. So at this point, we can then proceed to calculate the cost of redeemable preference share, that is the internal rate of return. I would then say KP, which is the same thing as internal rate of return, is calculated as lower discount rate plus the NPV of the lower divided by NPV of the lower plus the NPV of the higher. So all multiplied by higher discount rate minus lower discount rates. Okay, equal. We assume 5 and 10%. 5% is lower. 5 plus NPV of the 5% is 0.08 divided by 0.08 plus NPV of the higher 0.126. All of this multiplied by higher discount rate of 10 minus lower discount rate of 5. So let's calculate and get the final answer. Okay, 0.08 plus 0.126 equal 0.206. So 0.08 divided by 0.206 equal, multiply by difference between 10 and 5, which is 5. Multiply by 5 equal, then plus 5 equal, that's 6.94. Okay, this is 6.94%. Therefore, the cost of redeemable preference share is approximately 7%. Okay, that's the end of the question. This is how to calculate cost of redeemable preference share. Let me know if you have any question for me. Over 10, 10 of you have disappeared. No worries. I understand. Oh yeah. So, any question? In the absence of, okay, somebody
Can
is
you
sending.
just scroll down a
Please.
little?
Okay.
No, okay.
Somebody is
question from my side.
asking, how did you get something is blocked? So please, how did you get how did you get the 0.621? Is a discount factor. Similarly, it's a discount factor. Discount factor is 1 plus r raised to power minus n. Let me show you. When you want to calculate discount factor, similarly, discount factor denoted as DF. Discount factor is calculated as 1 plus r raised to power minus n. For example, the first one where we have 10% discount rates. So R is the discount rate, N is the number of years. So this will be 1.10 raised to power minus 5. All right. This is the one that gave us 0.621. Okay. The second one, we assume 5%. Therefore, 1.05, because this R is the discount rate. So 1.05 raised to power minus 5. This will give us 0.784. I believe it's clear now, Timileyin. So let's have Okay, good. Now let's talk about cost of irredeemable preference share. That's where we are going to call it a day. So when we get to weighted average cost of capital, you are going to see a bigger question under cost of preference share. All right, but for now, let's move. Let me stop sharing this, or let's just continue. Let me explain cost of irredeemable preference share. Let's talk about costs of irredeemable. This is where we are going to stop. Preference share. Okay. Irredeemable preference. Let's talk about irredeemable first. Irredeemable preference share is the one in which the company will pay only the annual fixed dividend. Okay, only the annual fixed dividend, but the principal will not be repaid. But the principal will not be repaid. Okay. So as far as irredeemable preference share is concerned, the company is expected to pay only annual fixed dividend. The principal sum will not be repaid at all. The company will continue to pay annual fixed dividend, okay, for the foreseeable future. But the principal sum that the investor have contributed will never be repaid by the company. So that is irredeemable preference share. The cost
So
of
what about it? Sorry, sir, I did not raise my hand first.
That's
But I
not
wanted
good.
to
You break the rule. You know, when you just talk randomly, it disrupts the class. You should have raised your hand. But in any case, you've already just move on. Carry on. Talk to me.
I'm sorry, sir. I wanted to
Right, no worries.
ask, what
Yep.
about in the event of liquidation? They will not pay them back the principal.
In the event of liquidation, this is how it works. When the company liquidates, you know, the company will be owing some people, some creditors. Part of the creditor, you have preference shareholders, we have debt holders. So when a company liquidates, what the procedure will be that first thing first, you need to realize the assets. All the assets of the company will be disposed of, will be sold. Whatever the proceed therefrom will then be used to settle the liabilities. Now, the first set of creditors that will be settled is the debt holders. Okay, after the debt holders, then you pay you settle the preference shareholders. If there's any remnants, any residue after settling the preference shareholder, then ordinary shareholder will take the balance, whatever that is left. So the principal, the preference shareholder may be lucky to get the entire principal sum. If not, whatever that is available is what they are going to settle them with. So that is how it works. All right. Say, for example, you are owing, so a company is owing some group of investors called preference shareholders. Okay. Say 10 million naira. Then you now dispose of the asset of the company. After the company has been liquidated, you dispose of the asset of the company. You realize, let's say, 30 million naira. Out of the 30 million naira, you have settled the debt holders. You have settled the debt holders about 22 million. So that means you have a balance of 8 million. Meanwhile, you are owing the preference shareholders 10 million naira. So you can only settle the 8 million. The remaining 2 million naira will be lost. The preference shareholder will forgo the balance of 2 million naira. So that means it's a loss to them. All right. Are you fine, Charity?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Now let's move on. So I was trying to drive at the cost of irredeemable preference share. Like I said, the principal will not be repaid because it's irredeemable. The only thing that the preference shareholders will be entitled to is annual fixed dividend. All right. So the cost of irredeemable preference share, let me put it down. The cost of irredeemable preference share is calculated as the ratio of fixed dividend to ex-div to ex-dividend share price. Okay. As shown below, or let me put it, the formula below can be used to calculate the cost of irredeemable preference share. Okay. So whenever you want to calculate cost of irredeemable preference share, it is computed as the ratio of fixed dividend to ex-div share price multiplied by 100%. So this is the formula for calculating cost of irredeemable preference share. All right. So that is as per all those concepts that we had under cost of equity, like cum div, ex div, share price, everything still apply here. The only difference is just that as far as cost of irredeemable preferential is concerned, there is no growth rate. You can't have growth in dividend payment. Dividend will remain constant. It is fixed. Okay? So let's have illustration. Let me stop sharing this. Let's have the last illustration for the day. Okay. Yes, let's have this illustration number 4. Who is helping us to read? Who is helping us? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Illustration number 4. Irredeemable preference share. Adeni PLC has issued preference share with a nominal value of 25 kobo. The agreed dividend of 5 kobo has just been paid. Required, what is the cost of preference share?
Thank you, Minister of Finance. Yes, examiner is asking you to calculate cost of preference share. You need to ask yourself, what kind of preference share is this one? Is it redeemable or irredeemable? I explained to you earlier that preference share will be redeemable if the redemption date or maturity date is given to you. In this question, we are not given the maturity date. Therefore, it is irredeemable preference share. How do you then compute the cost of irredeemable preference share? Cost of irredeemable preference share is calculated as the ratio of fixed dividend to ex-div share price. So if that is the case, let me use this space instead of switching again. Yes. Okay. Yeah, let me use it. Or let me clean this. Let me clean this. All right. Okay. Now, solution. So I would then say KP equal to fixed dividend divided by xdiv share price multiplied by 100 over 1 equal. Now, we need fixed dividends. I will then go back to the question. We are told that the agreed dividend of 5 kobo has just been paid. It means that the value of the preference share exclude dividend. So, of course, this will then be 5. Okay, let me use the other side. KP equal to 5 divided by, so XDiv share price. Examiner did not give us share price. We are given nominal value. Nominal value is the same thing as face value, book value. Okay? When you talk about nominal value, it's the same thing as face value or book value. All right, that is the amount you have in the balance sheet. Now, since you are not given the market value, then you have to use the nominal value, which is 25 kobo. And you are told that dividend has been paid. Just put the 25 kobo there. So 5 divided by 25. 5 divided by 25 multiplied by 100 over 1. So that will give you the final answer. This should be
20%, sir.
20%. Thank you. This is 20%. So the cost of irredeemable preference share is 20%. So it's as simple as that. So like I said, these are just all these examples that we have been discussing since. They are just elementary, just to explain the concepts. This is not the kind of question you are going to see on the day of your exam, especially at your level, that is a professional level. All right. So, yes, we are moving to cost of debt, and we have a few minutes to the end of the class. So don't let me bother you with that. So in our next class, by the grace of God, we are going to do cost of debt and then cost of convertible securities. Okay. So I will encourage you, go ahead, go and read cost of debt and then cost of convertible from this material, so that in our next class, when I'm talking through it, you already have the idea of what I'm talking about. Okay, please go ahead and read about cost of debt. This is cost of debt here, then cost of convertible security. Read about convertible security. I should be able to introduce you to WACC, weighted average cost of capital, in our next class as well. All right. So let me know if you have any question for me before we close the class. So please, when do you know when to use historical pattern of dividend payments to calculate growth? I've said this severally now. I said the historical pattern of dividend payment should be used when the history of dividend payments are given. When you are given the information on the amount of dividend paid across all relevant years, then you are expected to use historical pattern of dividend payment to calculate the growth rate. All right, no worries. You can go back to the first class video, or even in this one, because I also explained it earlier today. All right, so you understand better. Okay. Yes, so when the history of dividend payment are given, that's when you use historical pattern of dividend payment or averaging method. But the Gordon growth model is used when information on earnings as well as capital employed are given. Okay. Yes, Emmanuel, talk to me. You raised hand.
Yes, sir. I wanted asking there was the question that we combined golden growth model and the historical
Yeah.
dividend. Please, can you help with the page number where it was where the question is? Because I've tried looking for it, but I
It's not
couldn't.
in this. It's not in this material. It's not in this material. It's in Golden Book. It's in the SFM Golden Book.
Was
It's a textbook. It's a textbook. It's an SFM Golden Book. Don't worry, I will talk about the Golden Book later on, possibly in our next class. I just want us to settle down before I begin to talk about the Golden Book. All right?
Okay, so can we like see the question just once so that I can screenshot it on my end so that I won't delay the class? Is it possible?
Yes, you can screenshot it, but again, you can also see it when you are listening to the video.
Okay.
But
Okay.
there is nothing bad I can share with you. Let me stop sharing this so that I can quickly share with you. Okay. I believe you can see my screen now, right, Ima?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so this is the question. This is the question here.
Thank you. I've captured it.
It's okay then.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, you're welcome. Eshurame, talk to me.
Okay,
Is
sir.
that
Good evening, sir.
Victor, right?
Yes, sir.
Talk to me. How are you?
I'm doing fine, sir. Okay, mine is not actually a question, just to actually remind you of the message I sent so that I can get access to the material and study. Because I'm yet to be added to the groups.
Oh, you are yet to be added to the group. Okay, you
Yes.
can just send me the chats. Send me
Okay,
the chats.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome. Kayode Akinbowale, talk to me.
Good evening.
Good
Thank you
evening.
for tonight's lecture. So
You're
I
welcome.
observed in your at the end of your computation when you arrive at your answers, you
Yep.
usually approximate your answers. I mean, like
Yep.
6 point something, you say 7%. Is there
Yep.
any rule as to, or would we be penalized in any case?
No,
Thank you.
no. It's a matter of choice. You can decide to restrict your number to 1 decimal point or 2 decimal points, or you round your number. But in a situation whereby the examiner is specific that you should round your number to make your number, I mean, your calculation to whole number, that is, you round it up, then in that case, you have to follow the examiner instruction. But where there's no any instruction, you can do it anyhow you like. Is that fine?
That's fine. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, welcome. Yes. Any other question before we close the class? Okay. So in the absence of no further question, I want to say bye-bye to every one of you. I will see you next time, next week again, by the grace of God. However, Mr. Shiwaju will be having you tomorrow, same SFM. So be punctual in class. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good night. You're welcome.